All right, guys, welcome back. Man, I hope you guys are studying as much as I'm producing these videos. It is 8:27 Monday morning, and we have this lovely 3-day weekend celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday and also celebrating an opportunity to score better on your midterm exam. Okay, all right. So our next part for the exam that you will see is ordering numbers from least to greatest. Now, if you have difficulty changing fractions into decimals, what I would strongly suggest is that you review the Heart Academy video on doing just that. Changing fractions into decimals or fractions with remainders will help you, because I'm not going to go step by step on how to do that on these, but show you the easiest way of ordering numbers from least to greatest is simply by changing everything into a decimal, and therefore you will be able to see the differences between the numbers rather quickly. So with that in mind, all right, I have 11 over 5. If I change this to a decimal, again, watch the other videos in order how to learn how to do this. This number becomes negative, it's a negative, so negative 2.2. Pi, as you know, is 3.14. So I'm going to change this one to negative 3.14. This one is already a decimal, so I'm just going to keep that number the same. So I have negative 2.98, okay? And then the square root of 7 negative. Remember, if you have problems with the square roots and determining them, since you're not using a calculator, ask me for help, and I will help you determine the square roots of numbers, especially if they're not perfect squares, okay? If I do this, I have negative 2.645. Now that they're all in decimal form, it's much easier to see the numbers from least to greatest. So what is my largest, or what is my least number? That's going to be negative 3.14. As you can see, everything else begins with a negative 2. So this is the smallest number. Again, it's a negative, so the 3 is making it more like dollars in the whole. So therefore, you know it's the smallest number. So I'm going to put it in the original form in order. So I have negative pi, excuse my writing, you know how hard it is to do this with a knife, with a mouse. I would take that out so I don't get confused of which ones I have and which ones I haven't done. And then the next smallest number would be the one that's already in decimal form, negative 2.98. And then I have this one, because I have negative 2.64 or negative 2.2. So remember, you're going from least to greatest. And in this case, since they're all negative numbers, the greatest number will be the one that actually technically kind of looks the smallest, but remember, we're dealing with all negatives. So basically the one that's closest to 0 is the one that's the largest. So put this back in its original form. Took care of that one. And then this one, which is the 11 over 5. There you are, from least to greatest. I'm going to move over to the second one. And remember, you can print this worksheet out and follow along right with me. All right, here we go. Excuse me. It's morning. Drinking my coffee. Okay, this one is already a decimal, so I won't have to change this one. I'll just rewrite it up top as is. It's a positive 4.5. Now, this one, changing it into a decimal would be 3.5 over 6. Square root of 17 is actually a perfect square, and it's 4. And this one changed into a decimal is 2.666, number of the beast. And repeating, this is 2 times pi, which should be 6.28. Again, excuse the handwriting. You know how difficult it is writing with a mouse, not a knife. All right. So, but now that they're all into decimal forms, again, if you're not sure how to change this fraction into a decimal, preview a Heart Academy on doing just that with the long division, etc., and also changing mixed numbers into decimals. All right, so going from least to greatest, my least number, or my smallest number, is going to be the one that starts with a 2. Notice all of these are positive, so it'll be very easy to see which one is which. 2.666 is the smallest number in this case, and on my answer, I'm going to put it back in original form. Take that one out. And then I have 3.56, original form. And, oh, I realized my mistake here. I put 3.56, but I wrote it as a fraction when it really is 3.8333, 833, etc. You get the point. So anyway, so 3 and 5, 6 is the next smallest number because I had a 2, 3. Now, of course, I'm going to be looking at which one of these 4s is the smallest number. And you can already tell me that it's going to be square root of 16, can't you? Because I have $4.50 or just $4. Which one's smaller? Remember, we're going from least to greatest. So square root of 16. And then 4.5, which is already in decimal form. Leaving my last number, 2 times pi. So, sorry for the sloppy handwriting, but I think you get the idea of this. Let's try for another one. Oops. There we go. Put this one away. Go for this one. And here we are. I'm going to do 2 more with you, leaving you 2 more to do on your own for the worksheet. And remember, the worksheet also has the answer keys attached to them. All right, so here I go. In decimal form, and I'll write these below it since there's much room. Square root of 3. Again, remember, if you have problems with doing the square roots, let me know during your test, and I will help you out since you're not using calculator on your exam. If I do the square root of this, I'm going to get something like this, 1.732. This one is already a decimal, so I'm just going to bring it down as it is. Same thing with the 1.5. Look at that. Same thing with the 1.58. Same thing with the 0. So remember, going from least to greatest. Of course, the least one would be 0. And then 1.7, 1.2, 1.5, or 1.58. Okay? If you said 1.2, you are correct. That's the next smallest one, 1.23. And then, looking again, I have 1.7 or 1.5 or 1.58. Okay, you want to go straight for the 1.5 because it's representing like $1.50. So 1.5. And then 1.58 because this one is saying $1.58, which is bigger. So 1.58. Leaving your last problem with 1.73, and remember putting it in original form, which is the square root of 3. Moving on to number 6, and remember you can always slow the video down, put it on pause, rewind, whatever. Still have questions, don't forget, my friends, you can still email me. You know how much I love you guys, and I check my email all day long just to see if a student has an inquiry, or if a parent has an inquiry. Hold on a second, I need some coffee. That's good. Notice I said coffee, not Pepsi. But then again, it's only 8:36 Monday morning. That's dedication. All right, so changing these, and I'll write them above, into fractions, or excuse me, decimals. They're already fractions. This would be 1.25. This one is 0.8. This one is already a decimal. This one is already a decimal. Here we go. Now, going from least to greatest. Okay, so I have 0.0, 0.4, 0.8, or 1.2. You can tell that this one is the smallest one, so I'm going to write that first. 0.054. Now, 1.2, 0.8, or 0.4. If you said 0.4, you're correct. 0.45 is the next smallest one. Now, 1.2 or 0.8. If you said 0.8, you're correct, but remember putting it in its original form. Leaving 1.25, putting it in its original form. Again, least to greatest. All right, like I said, there's 2 more problems on this page. I think you should try those on your own. Check the answer key to see if you have it right. Any questions, you know how to contact me. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.